The safety, women's safety while they are moving in public spaces, while they're going out of their homes. But then I just question my own thoughts that they're not only harassed, they're not only unsafe outside the house, but they're also harassed, they're abused at homes by their very own family members.
Uzma is the North Star for the Pakistani women when it comes to finding themselves. Uzma has dedicated last 15 years of her life for women, transgender, and persons with disabilities. As a founder and executive director of FDI, Uzma has worked on SHRH, climate, and political participation of women. Her work is recognized internationally and nationally. She is also a recipient of Human Rights Award 2016. We are grateful to Uzma for giving us her time today. Thank you so much for having us today, Uzma, and being our guest here in this podcast. जैसे कि हमने बात की about the life you have given to this work. So what do you see? What are the challenges that a Pakistani woman still faces regarding her education, employment, healthcare, basically her day-to-day life?
Thank you very much, Kashmala, for having me. So it's not one Pakistani women facing. I guess they will be. I mean, we will be facing it for like many decades to come, because problem is so multi-layered, it's so complex, and it's not like one aspect contributing to it, but there are so many aspects contributing to it. But as a feminist, I believe, of course, we always blame patriarchy, but patriarchy is not that simple. There is a class divide also that makes women suffer more or less. But I believe that all of us are suffering some way or the other way.
And do you think, like, as you talked about education, but do you think also the awareness campaigns and working with the communities make the difference? It basically get those women whose voices are usually unheard in the mainstream media as well?
Education is always very much instrumental, be it in form of awareness campaigns, be in form of making people part of your political processes, be it community dialogue, whatever way it is. Education helps, especially in the time of digital era where,
Yeah.
where every other man possesses a smartphone.
Yeah.
Not every other woman, but I tell you, from flood 2022, where everything was gone with water, men still had smartphones.
Exactly.
Women didn't have even food. So I guess that helps, and men are the one who actually responsible for all this culture and societal norms, who actually not only promote but also strengthen, because that benefits them, right?
Exactly.
So education and awareness campaigns really help, but sometimes I'm really upset when I see like awareness campaigns are so shallow, they're not well researched, they're not contextualized. We really need to be contextualized, and that requires a lot of homework. We just bring something out of somewhere, and then we try to fit into like to South Punjab, to interior KP, or to southern part of Balochistan or interior Sindh. That might not work.
Yeah.
Because we have so much diversity, which is like beautiful, but then it becomes a liability when you're not able to cater the needs of everyone.
Yeah. How do you see these rights can be protected better? What can be done right in this?
I see the primary responsibility is with the state.
Yeah.
State gives you a roadmap. State manifests from its actions, from its conviction, from its will, that it will not be tolerated. It is not okay, you know. And then comes the most important unit is your family unit.
Yeah.
Your parents, both male and female, they have to play a role. And but I tell you, we are on a very scary track. We have been talking about gender equality, and before that we had men on a very like different pedestal on the equation, and then we completely forget to train our men, and then we put our or we try to elevate our women to that equal pedestal. But we are preparing our women to be highly empowered, educated, qualified, very sensitive, very sensitized, but we forgot the other half.
Yeah.
So then again, the issue of surviving together or coexistence, that is again problematic. Initially it was problematic because this was very suppressed and that was
Very
very
high.
much, high. And now this is going to be like making their own space, and this space, this side has done a lot of efforts
Yeah.
to elevate themselves, right? But this side is going to decline. So then again, the mismatch in society in different roles,
Yeah.
like as a colleague, because men are not sensitized, men are not trained at home.
Yeah.
Your organization, my organization, we just cannot train men on the jobs. We can just refresh if they
Yeah.
have some basic training or life skills. And these are life skills: how to respect the other gender, how to respect a woman, how to respect person with disability, how to respect a transgender woman or transgender person. That will come from home.
Yeah.
And from home, to make sure that home is fully invested, that state has to given that direction, that this is how our nation is going to grow and flourish together.
So, Uzma, you actually mentioned one thing very important and pertinent. We usually forget that's the role of men. So, we talk about how the woman needs to, find her place. But unless we have these men basically letting us do our thing, because this is the patriarchal mindset and it's not just affecting the woman, it is not actually good for the men as well, it is very harmful for them. Having us, letting us have our own space would actually make things easier for them as well. So how do you see the role of men and boys playing out in this picture, and do you see it getting better, or what is your opinion about that?
So, Kashmala, men just need to understand very basic thing, or they should acknowledge it. Like they are not the only species, the unique species on this planet Earth, you know? So it's a shared planet. They are not, I guess they do understand, but they're not acknowledging,
Yeah.
they're in denial. So we are equal stakeholder as a human being. We are equal people on this planet. If they need air, oxygen, water, we also need air, oxygen, water.
Yeah.
If they cannot survive without, we cannot survive without it either, right? If they need education, we also need education. So it's not either or.
Yeah.
Either they get educated or we got education, right? So they just need to acknowledge it. I guess now men should really think about it. They're just denying this fact, that women pretty much exist here.
Yeah.
Not only women in general, cisgender women, but women with all their diversity. With all our gender identities, expressions, orientations, our abilities, our disabilities. So we all exist here. We have different faiths, we have different beliefs, we follow different religions, we have different dreams, as simple as men do.
Yeah. And do you think that your experience, your international experience, and being a Pakistan-U.S alumni network member, it has gave you some insight or changed the way you worked? And how do you see, like, has it helped you grow your work here in some way?
So my IVLP in 2016 was very interesting exchange one, because my theme for the IVLP was NGO coalition and leadership. So
Interesting.
that was pretty much very close to my work I do every day. But that gave me a different perspective. And as you know, like when you are on any exchange program, you happen to visit at least 4 to 5 different states, from highly developed states to least developed states. So that was such a wonderful exposure where I could see, okay, in country like United States, who happen to be like one of the biggest economies in the world, they happen to be superpower in many ways in terms of technology and everything. But still, there are many big and small NGOs operating. There are many community-led organizations operating there. But yes, I was amazed to see that how convenient it is to set up an NGO in the United States. And you can just do it online, because as an NGO person, I was pretty much interested to know that how
Yeah.
is the operating environment, how do they do their administrative things. So that gives you a different exposure, and you get to know that the NGO NGO setting up and NGO running is relatively very easy.
Yeah.
It's not like your state is doubting you, they're after you. You have a portal called Economic Affairs Divisions portal. You have submitted all your documents, but just to get that one acknowledgement letter, which means like application has been submitted, it is nothing more, right?
Exactly.
It does not translate into like your project is approved or disapproved, whatever. It's just saying thank you for applying, your application has been successfully submitted. I see like in United States, while we were visiting different NGOs, charities, community-led organizations, they were just working. It was one thing was common. It was also hard for them to raise funds. So I learned this thing like fundraising is a constant or perhaps universal challenge. Wherever you talk about human rights,
Exactly.
especially, and then within human rights frameworks, you further break down it to women rights, then women with disabilities, then with transgender people, with then ethnic, indigenous people, because in US, the indigenous population rights are also one of the major forte. So I feel like that trip was very useful. I had great time. Like those 3 weeks were very amazing.
And considering, you run an organization, Forum for Dignity Initiative, FTI, and FTI has set its mark for doing something that I think before FDI no one was doing in Pakistan, and still people are scared to do. So, how are you doing it? Where do you get the strength from? And how are you acing it so brilliantly?
Thank you for the compliment. Kashmala, I guess from where I get the strength, I guess the challenge itself gives me strength. And you rightly mentioned back in 2030, there was no right-based organization in Pakistan working for or with transgender people's rights. There were a number of NGOs working for HIV/AIDS prevention, cure, rehabilitation, but there was no NGO working for human rights, talking about upholding dignity for transgender people as any other citizen, as a constitutional guarantee, right to education, right to health, right to political participation. And today, when I see many of my trans colleagues, they are doing amazing jobs, nationally, internationally. I feel so accomplished. Every compliment they receive, I feel it's for me.
So, Uzma, if you want to sum up the priorities, what would you say that for advancing the women's right in Pakistan, what should be the priorities and what are the strategies that can be employed to overcome these existing barriers?
I guess for me as a woman, based on my own experience, I am so independent. Um, I'm in the field for past 15 years. I still face harassment.
Yeah.
I still feel unsafe while I commute in public transports. So I guess that starts with this: providing public spaces, providing safe homes, providing a safe environment within their families, and also access to free transportation. Because I always say that we are not the one to tell women what to do.
Yeah.
We are just here to facilitate. We, in our capacity as a human rights activist, state overall is responsible to facilitate, the processes. And then let every individual decide, every single woman, be it a woman with disability, transgender women, Hindu women, a Christian women, whoever they are, whoever they believe, they will find their way. Please do not teach women what to do and how to do. Just provide them enabling environment to chase their dreams.
Thank you so much, Uzma. Thank you for your amazing time and having this discussion, because I think being a female and seeing you work, and I have seen how much you have put in, and I'm just amazed and humbled that I got this chance to sit, in front of you and ask you these questions. And I hope everyone who get to hear this would learn a lot from this. Thank you
I'm
so
honored,
much.
Kashmala. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.